Muslims were seen chanting and protesting outside the Temple Mount after Israel installed checkpoints with metal detectors at the compound gates.
Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see and have not seen it, to hear what you hear and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
The Temple Mount holy site in Jerusalem is back open today, but with new security measures in place after a deadly ambush there on Friday. Additional security cameras are now hooked up and new metal detectors are also installed at entrances. The site, which is holy to both Muslims and Jews, is a frequent flashpoint for violence in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel closed the site on Friday for the first time ever in decades after 3 Arab Israelis opened fire there, killing 2 Israeli police officers. The 3 attackers were killed on site, but it's raising concerns about wider unrest.
This wall of water, 6 feet high at times, caught families completely off guard. Cell phone video shows a man in a tree above the raging river clinging to a young child.
And all of a sudden, this wall of water and rock and debris and everything just came rushing at them.
It was drizzling as 14 family members celebrated Maria Rhea's 26th birthday at a popular swimming hole when suddenly dark floodwaters filled with debris came barreling down the East Verde River. The flash flood started when a thunderstorm hit an area scorched by last month's Highline fire. Fire Chief Ron Settlemeyer says it was more violent than most because the water's natural barriers like trees and shrubs have been burnt away.
And all that debris and ash and everything came roaring down that drainage and caught those people totally by surprise.
One of the family members, Carla Garnica, pleaded for help.
They can't stop looking until he's found. He has to rest in peace with his whole family.
Well, some Iraqi troops admit that in the fight against ISIS, it isn't just about justice for them. It's about revenge. Graphic videos have emerged showing troops in Mosul capturing terror group suspects and throwing them off a high wall next to the Tigris River, one by one. This is a still from one of those videos. CBS News cannot verify the authenticity of the video, but it matches reports on a series of revenge killings in Mosul. A few Iraqi officers spoke to the Associated Press and defended their actions. Their practices are justified, they said, because ISIS's rule is in place in Iraq where, quote, they're so cruel and that it should be exempt from the rules of war. Iraq declared victory in Mosul earlier this month, driving out ISIS forces after the city served as a group stronghold for the last 3 years.
The ferocious Detweiler fire just outside Yosemite National Park exploded overnight, doubling its size and burning over 45,000 acres. Flames leapt across Highway 49, closing the road. More than 2,000 firefighters have been battling the massive blaze since Sunday. But as the wind pushed the fire closer to a community of 1,500 homes late Tuesday, California's Governor Jerry Brown declared a state of emergency. Thousands were ordered to evacuate the town of Mariposa. Main Street became a ghost town. Mia Glore owns the Mariposa Lodge.
Everybody's scared. You'd never think something like this would happen in your town.
The fire has knocked out some power lines and threatens more in Yosemite during this peak tourist season. Record rain that ended the drought has also fueled the fire, creating dense vegetation that has burned with lightning speed. Cal Fire Lucas Spillman.
Here, what is it about this fire that blew it out of control over the last 24 hours?
As you can see, with the dead trees, the brush, it's just a combination of everything. It's a powder cake, and that's why it's just continuing to burn quicker than we can contain it.
More than a dozen choppers and air tankers are making constant water and retardant drops. But Cal Fire has requested even more help to try and get ahead of the fire.
U.S. officials say that President Donald Trump has decided to end the CIA's program of arming Syria insurgents. The CIA program was launched by then-President Barack Obama in 2013. The CIA is reported to have spent up to $1 billion a year on its Syria operations. One of the unnamed officials said the decision to end the program was made ahead of Trump's meeting with Putin at the G20 summit and as part of an effort to improve ties with Russia.
At the Vatican today, 2 civilians went on trial for allegedly violating at least one of the 10 commandments, the one about stealing.
The trial has the hallmarks of a TV crime drama. 2 former administrators of the Vatican's Bambino Gesù Hospital are accused of embezzling nearly $500,000 in hospital funds to pay for the renovations of a sprawling 3,200-foot apartment belonging to Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone. Giuseppe Profiti, the former hospital president, had defended the scheme, saying the money was an investment because the Cardinal's apartment would be used for hospital fundraisers. Bertone, who was the Vatican's #2 under Pope Benedict, was not charged and insists he knew nothing about the diverted funds.
A scandal like this really plays to the stereotype of out-of-touch, arrogant cardinals growing fat on the wealth of the church.
Candida Moss, a professor of theology at the University of Notre Dame, says no less than the credibility of Pope Francis is at stake.
If we don't see results in this trial, if we don't see a prosecution, people will wonder if Francis is really serious about financial reforms.
The hospital is one of Europe's leading pediatric centers. First Lady Melania Trump paid a visit there in May. Recently, Pope Francis said one of the worst cancers in a hospital is corruption. This Vatican court proceeding takes place, Anthony, as Pope Francis is trying to tidy up the finances of the Vatican. The next hearing will be in early September.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte says he wants to extend martial law in the region of Mindanao until the end of the year. A government spokesperson said it would help security forces crack down on terrorism in the south of the country. Mindanao has a history of rebellion and was placed under martial law on May 23rd after a siege in the city of Marawi by ISIL-linked militants. Fighting between government troops and rebels there has killed more than 500 people and displaced 260,000 residents.
Some new information now on a whole new danger for the folks in a Florida neighborhood where a sinkhole swallowed 2 homes. Emergency management officials there collecting water samples to test for E. coli. This comes as families from 4 of the homes initially evacuated were just allowed to return over the weekend. 5 other homes are still deemed unsafe. The sinkhole opened up Friday morning, growing to 225 feet in diameter and 50 feet deep. It swallowed up 2 homes and a boat. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
In India, officials there say floods have killed at least 4 people in the western state of Gujarat. 6 others are still missing. Transport has been disrupted on major rail networks and dozens of highways, and power to more than 100 villages has been cut. In the northeast, heavy rains have killed at least 85 people in the past 9 days. Some 1.75 million people have been affected in Assam state, with tens of thousands relocated. Monsoon rains in India regularly cause floods and also waterborne diseases.
2 Iranians have reportedly been indicted in the United States in connection with the hacking of a defense contractor and stealing sensitive software used to design bullets and warheads. The U.S. Justice Department says they broke into the computers of Vermont-based Aerotech Associates, and the materials stolen are sold to Iranian universities, the military, and the government. U.S. sanctions on Iran prohibit the country from possessing such materials.